everybody, this video is on the new moon in Gemini that happens on the 3rd of June 2019, and it happens at 1 minute past 11 in the morning, and that's based on UK time. Now, a new moon is when the sun and the moon meet and they conjunct and they blend their energies together. The moon is pitch black, no crescent, nothing, and the moon turns inward and it recharges its batteries. Now, this new moon is at 12 degrees in Gemini, so what it does is it sucks in loads and loads of energy, in this case the energy being Gemini, because that's the sign both the sun and the moon are in, and it pulls this Gemini information in, which allows us to access a lot of Gemini information as well. So Gemini is an air sign. It's about communication. It's about being curious, wanting to communicate, wanting to discover new ways of doing things. If you look at the glyph of Gemini, it's a Roman numeral 2 and it looks like a doorway. So Gemini is really interested in finding different ways of doing things. It's about exploration, discovery, learning ways to be more effective, but also just having fun and connecting with things that haven't been explored yet, and discovering the new, and talking about funny things, and exchanging ideas and information, and even gossiping and laughing and telling jokes and speaking for the sake of speaking, like being witty and making people laugh and using wit and thoughts and ideas to really create a world that you can walk into and that you can occupy. So I think Gemini rules the internet. Any kind of fantasy world that you can enter, you know, like those multi-user player dungeon things that they've got online, where you can really communicate with other people, and people make online friends, and it's like a family to a lot of people. It's important, they spend a lot of time there. That's everything that falls under the umbrella of Gemini, because it's this doorway, and the new moon pulling all this Gemini energy in is going to give us all access to communicate and to lose ourselves in these fantasy worlds, and to come up with new ideas, and to rummage around ourselves, and to look at what's going on and what we're really thinking about and what we want to communicate and what we're interested in. It's not always that clear. Sometimes we're at work and we just have to deal with the things that we're told to deal with, and we don't really know what our own fascination is currently with, or what we're trying to learn, and how we're trying to better ourselves, and how we're trying to manifest a world that looks different to the world that we're in now. The new moon is also 12 degrees. 1 and 2 is 3, and 3 in numerology is about communication. So not only is the new moon in Gemini, but on a numerology level, it vibrates at the same frequency as Gemini. So this is like a new moon in Gemini squared. It's incredibly communicative. So all of us will find that we're able to express ourselves and our thoughts and our concerns in a really clear and eloquent way. We're able to have fun with communication. We're able to access these other worlds, and maybe escape for a while if we're stressed or burnt out or tired. We're also able to heal by telling jokes and laughing and being with friends and chatting. Now, Mercury is at 27 degrees in Gemini, so that doesn't really count as a conjunction. A conjunction in astrology is when two planets meet and they mix their energies together, and the distance between the planets are called orbs, okay? And if you want a planet to be conjunct, it's got to be less than 10 degrees away for it to count as an orb, as a conjunction. Now, Mercury is at 27 degrees, so it's 15 degrees away from the new moon, so it doesn't exactly count. If it was 5 degrees closer, then Mercury would blend its energy in as well. And that would be significant because Mercury is the communication planet that rules Gemini. And Mercury in itself being in that sign makes communication effortless and easy. So this is the opposite of a Mercury retrograde. Everything that is communicated is understood. You don't have to explain everything. People who know each other well will just be able to give each other a look and they'll know what the other person means. Now, Mercury is at 27 degrees, and that's 2 and 7 is 9, and 9 is spirituality and completion. So Mercury also connects to the higher realms, to the spiritual realms, and enables people to connect with the higher realms. Now, if it were conjunct to the sun and the moon, there would be a natural, easy identification with the higher realms and communicating with those. But it's 15 degrees away, so that doesn't happen. So the communication is very earthy. It's very in the here and now. It's books, it's other people, it's talking, it's online gaming or online forums like Reddit. I mean, Reddit is a website where they have subreddits which are different topics. So you have a topic for funny things, or you have a topic for like cute kittens and stuff like that. And you have a Reddit for free folk, for Game of Thrones fans, and you have Reddit subreddits for anything you can think of, okay? And a lot of smart, clever people are there, and it's a forum, and people put on memes and GIFs and all sorts of things, and they comment, and they get upvoted and downvoted, and it's a whole community. And you can really get lost in these things and spend lots of time there. It's something that a lot of people resort to when they're stressed. And it's a different reality, and it's communicating with people online where you have a certain sense of the only thing that matters here is how clever I am, how much I communicate, whether I can make other people laugh, whether my insights are valued by the community. It's not about how I look. There's also a subreddit called Gay in Real Life, and they make amazing pictures and memes. A meme is just taking something and reproducing it and putting funny lines on it to apply it to different situations. And they have such amazing insights into what it really is like to be an actual gay person in this society, and what happens to you and what feelings are evoked. It's really, really interesting. I only discovered it like 2 weeks ago, and it's like a rabbit hole you can get lost in, like Alice in Wonderland. It's a total escape. So that's something that you may be susceptible to if you have a lot of work to do, if you are responsible for getting things done, for being uber productive. Make sure that you don't allow yourself to fall into one of these rabbit holes, okay? If you have time off, fine, enjoy yourself. This is like healing through communication. The new moon does trine, so it forms a harmonious relationship. It's 120 degrees away from Pallas Athena at 10 degrees in Libra. Pallas Athena is the female equivalent to Mars, the male principle of drive, desire, the soldier. Pallas Athena is the warrior goddess who rides into battle for a cause. At 10 degrees, it's 1, initiative, Aries, and it's in Libra, which is the opposite of Aries, which is about compromise and expressing yourself and being articulate and beautiful and elegant. So not only are you able to communicate wonderfully and you really get sucked into the world of communication, you're also able to initiate conversations that are interesting and witty and funny and that beautify the discourse. You know, you may be watching this and thinking, oh, Greg, what a load of bullshit. Like, who cares? Like, okay, on this day we're going to be able to talk. Great. But it's not a load of BS, because our culture is so rough at the moment. Like, if you read the news, the things we're reading about, like, it's really, it's coarse. And we have authors like Oscar Wilde and Evelyn Waugh and Noel Coward and Long Day's Journey into Night, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, what was his name? Edward Albee. Yeah. So, we have people who've got a grasp of the human language, of the English language, and who are able to express emotional states and to capture them in writing. And that is so important as a culture, to appreciate books and to appreciate people who are able to say things properly, because it elevates all of us. It means we're not just animals digging around in the dirt, grunting. We have minds, We think, and we have wit about us, and we can rise beyond all of this nastiness, and we can use our minds to make a better world. It's like the opposite of cynicism. It's like, the world is the way it is, but if we all use our minds, and if we listen to our higher selves, and if we stop being selfish, and we start to try and be the best that we can be, the world would look a lot different if we communicated openly and honestly with the people in our lives, and we weren't so quick to anger and judge and hate. Then when the war stops in our head and there's beauty in there, then the war stops in the world. What's within is without. It's the law of manifestation. And that's why communication is important. And being able to beautifully communicate with yourself, I love you. Thank you for taking such good care of me. You're a good person. You've made mistakes, but I love you anyway. That discourse on days like this is so important for you, that you can heal yourself, that you can reconnect with yourself, and you can forgive yourself, and you can talk to yourself in a way that's understanding and important and not coarse, and it doesn't demean you, and it doesn't humiliate you. And when you do that for yourself, you're able to do it for other people, and that's how we're able to build a better world. That's what I mean, okay? I wish I was doing this on the 3rd of June, then I would be able to speak properly. Okay. Then we have a square from the new moon with Neptune at 18 degrees in Pisces. Neptune is the water planet of intuition and dreams. That is at 1 and 8 is 9, so spirituality and completion. And a square is when the new moon is 90 degrees away from Neptune. So this counts. Neptune blends its energy with the new moon. And I was talking about the 27, which is 9, in Mercury, which doesn't apply, but the 9 does apply here with Neptune in Pisces. 9 is spirituality and completion. Pisces is spirituality and self-sacrifice and intuition and psychic ability. Neptune is the water planet of feeling, of love on a human scale. And the fact that it squares Neptune means that there's a conflict between the intellect and just the words and the higher realms, the spiritual realms, and they converge, they meet. So you're not just thinking on your own. It's not just books and things. It's listening to your intuition and your feelings and articulating them in a way that makes sense and that offers you a solution to your problems, like loving yourself or connecting with your higher self and having that feeling of unconditional love and feeling that within yourself and expressing it and labeling it as saying, hey, I had a meditation session and I felt myself sink down and I experienced this amazing sense of overwhelming care. By labeling it and by putting it into words, you can understand it for yourself and you can get other people to understand it, and you can hopefully, possibly convince them to try out meditation themselves. And if all of us meditated as human beings, again the world would look very different because there would be far less conflict. That Neptune and the new moon, they create a T-square with Jupiter. A T-square is an opposition, so the new moon opposes Jupiter, and it then squares Neptune. Both of them square Neptune, Jupiter and the sun and the moon. A T-square is an area of real friction. So Jupiter is good luck and good fortune. At 20 degrees, 1 and 2 is a relationship. In Sagittarius, it's about connecting to yourself and connecting to the higher realms and galloping off into the unmanifest. And both Jupiter and Neptune represent that. The new moon is information in the logical, real world sense. But because they're at odds with Neptune and Jupiter, you're also forced to connect with the higher realms and to discover intellectual property that you haven't discovered before. So there are intellectual treasures to be. There are gold chests filled with gold coins and diamonds that are just waiting to be opened, and they're intellectual gold mines. So someone is going to have an idea for the next novel that's going to define a generation. Someone is going to have an idea for the next personal development book or podcast or YouTube channel that is going to define a group of people and create a community and is going to express something that we haven't heard before. The new moon also opposes Ceres at 6 degrees in Sagittarius. So by connecting with the higher realms on this day, you're able to create an abundance of communication, new ideas, invention, and originality. So please be that person. Sit down, meditate in the morning and say, universe, I'm open, I'm listening, shower me with your original creative ideas. I promise I will do something with them. Because the universe isn't going to give you all of these wonderful ideas if it knows that you're just going to dismiss them and throw them in the garbage. If you actually sit down and you do the podcasts or the videos, then it will give them to you. And notice also that when a book like Frankenstein comes out, that several other people at the same time are working on similar things. The universe, when it drops these ideas into people's heads, it never just drops them into one head. It drops them into lots of heads, hoping for someone to follow through and to create. And that's why usually when a big hit comes out, there are other smaller versions of that big hit being published at the same time, and they have nothing to do with each other. Like one is in Argentina and one is in New York. And it's not plagiarism, it's because they get these ideas from the universe. So listen, today is an important day to listen. You can be the warrior goddess of beautiful communication, and you can enchant us with other worlds that we can inhabit, and we can take ourselves and raise ourselves to new heights. Because where's the human race going? It can either go down and we can become more bloodthirsty and behead people and make things worse, or we can get our acts together and stop arguing with each other, and we can save our home and we can evolve as human beings. I think what's missing is someone who's in charge saying this is the 50-year plan for our species, that we are going to evolve as a race. And no one's putting that into place. We're just kind of muddling through and kind of going forwards, and no one's got a plan. And this is the kind of day where a plan can be formed by someone smarter than myself, by someone who's articulate, who's eloquent, who has power, someone who's in a position of leadership and can actually affect change. So that's why, again, it's important to do things like vote for the people you feel are representatives of what you believe and who are going to make changes in the world. Changes do happen. You know, we're not in a feudal society anymore. Real change can happen. It's possible. I'm just looking at what other aspects this forms. So I've got the trine with Pallas I've got the opposition with Ceres and Jupiter, the square with Neptune, and that's it. Yeah, so it's all about connecting the higher realms with the intellectual realm, and using that to create a new doorway, a new opportunity, a fresh start, a new beginning to express that. Pallas Athena sesqui squares Venus, which means it's 135 degrees away from Venus. Venus is in the sign that it rules, Taurus, at 23 degrees. So Venus is free to create beautifully as well. Yeah, Jupiter and Ceres, one quincunxes Uranus, the other sesqui squares it. Uranus is at 4 degrees in Taurus, creating chaos and something totally eccentric, unique and different in a tangible, physical way. So let's see what people come up with. It'll change society. And the part of fortune is on the rising sign. You can see that circle that looks like the symbol of the X-Men. It's on the ascendant at 26 degrees in Leo. Someone's going to be the spearhead, the figurehead of this movement of ideas. Mars is at 11 degrees in Cancer. Mars doesn't like being in Cancer. It's forced to nurture and it's forced to listen to its feelings. At 11 it's meant to serve, and Mars is a soldier, so you can see a soldier serving and caring, not its favorite activity. But even Mars is about expressing itself so that other people are soothed and nurtured by it. Interesting. So please I'm going to be open to this. I'm going to pray for wisdom and knowledge and insight, so that my mind, whatever it is, meets the infinite mind of the universe, and that maybe I'm lucky enough to be given a splinter of inspiration or insight. That's not false humility. It really is like, if I got something like that, now if I was able to then turn it into something real, like a video. I'm still scarred from my journalism degree. It's so stupid. I paid money for this stupid journalism degree. I've got a master's in it, and the only thing it taught me is that I can't write properly, so I don't write. That's why I make videos. That's why you go to university. God. I expected them to teach me how to write. No, they just marked my existing work and told me, yeah, that I was no good. So I make videos. Maybe that's enough. Maybe something out there will say, okay, we'll give it to the guy who mangles up the English language via videos, and maybe that's enough. So maybe I'll get a splinter of info, and I would be thrilled and honored, and I would do something with it, hopefully. So you too, please try and be the receptacle for this new insight. And a new moon is a new beginning, because the moon is charging itself up to fulfill its next monthly cycle. So the 12 degrees is a new beginning. Gemini is a doorway, is a new beginning, and the new moon in itself is a car revving its wheels. It's a new beginning waiting to take off and go. So all of this is about a fresh start in terms of ideas. So I hope that gives you something to go on here during this time. Have a wonderful new moon. Let me know some of your great ideas and insights. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab to order your reading. I use astrology, tarot and numerology in my personal private readings. The astrology chart I draw up by using your place of birth, date of birth and time of birth. If you don't have the time of birth, I can rectify your chart. So order that on the website as well. It's a process where I work out the time you were born. and you can order that on the website. Once I have the time, I can draw up the chart, like the chart that you see next to me here, and it shows me everything about you, what your life purpose is, where you've been in past lifetimes, what your vocational aptitudes are, your strengths and weaknesses, what's destined for you in certain areas of your life like love and health, and also how you can change your destiny and how you can manifest good things in your life. You know, recently, I mentioned this in one of the live videos, but recently I mentioned in one of the daily tarot readings that life is unfair. And I didn't mean that life is unfair and we're powerless. I meant life is unfair in the sense that if you don't know about the law of manifestation, then life is going to have its way with you. You know, like if I desperately want money, I'm going to squeeze the life out of it and I'm going to chase money away. Money will disappear. It's like a drowning person. If someone's drowning and someone jumps in to save them, that person pulls them down because they're so desperate to be saved that both end up dying. Okay, so the same thing, when you're that desperate for money, you squeeze the life out of it, you kill it, and it disappears from your life. Once you fill yourself with abundance through other ways, through spiritual ways, and you feel rich within yourself, then money appears in your life and you manifest it. So life isn't fair because we all react that way. Oh my God, if there's no money, then we panic and we chase after it. Whereas the reality is you have to learn to grow it within yourself. And then once you've learned that lesson, then life still isn't fair because it's now biased in your favor. You know that you can manifest anything by growing it within yourself. So if there's no love in your life, you find a meditation practice that connects you with a spiritual love. You feel totally completed by that, and then possible suitors start knocking down your door because you don't need love anymore, so it comes your way. And it's like that with everything. So yes, life isn't fair, but I didn't mean that we are helpless. I meant that we can learn to manifest the lives that we want to have, and that once we've learned that lesson, the secret as such, that it is biased in our favor. So today is another day where you can really have a breakthrough success. So make your channel open and receptive for great information to come through. There is stuff we still don't know, and that needs to be discovered. And I wonder what's going to be discovered in my lifetime. There hasn't been anything in a while. Hasn't been an Einstein in a while. Have a wonderful, wonderful time during this new moon. If you would like a personal reading, I've mentioned how to do that. Just go to the website gregoryscott.com and order it there. If you like these videos, then hit the subscribe button and share the video as well. That'd be great and awesome of you to do that. Have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you soon.